Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again it is Sunday and time for the Texas Gun Vault Poll Question of the Week, a weekly segment where I poll you as my viewers and subscribers on something related to firearms, the firearms industry, firearms politics, or maybe even EDC, and get your opinions and thoughts on them. This week's question dealt with training, something that this channel really doesn't talk about too much. I was kind of interested in the types of training that you think are important or their usefulness. So let's dive right into this week's poll question and get your results. So the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week, number 21. Do you think firearms training classes are beneficial? And if so, what kind of classes are the most worthwhile? So as I said, this channel really is more focused on the history and the collectability of firearms and the mechanics and basic range reports. I like to say that this channel is supposed to be a firearms channel for the average gun person, made by an average gun collector in his garage. I'm not somebody that works in the firearms industry. I'm not a professional shooter. I don't do any of that. I am just an average guy that loves and enjoys firearms as much as you do. So I try to produce content from that perspective for people that are like myself. So this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse to talk about training. I never recommend or not recommend any training class or any particular instructors at all. I feel that being in the, what I jokingly refer to as the pew-pew lifestyle, you have to learn how to lifestyle your own way. You need to set your own boundaries, your own rules, and follow them. This is all about having fun and getting the most out of what we do and enjoy. But with that in mind, let's see what you guys thought. And before I read the results, I want to say, I know in the comment section a few people asked me to have put the option to have a neutral response, but unfortunately YouTube only allows me to have 5 choices. So because I wanted kind of a gradated scale, I kind of made the middle 2 choices kind of middle of the road. So if you were in the neutral category, you could have voted for one of those. But I understand people wanted a specifically neutral, neither good nor bad option. But as I said, YouTube only gives me 5 options. So let's take a look at the results. With over 750 votes this week, we have yes, classes should be tactical and intense with bearded men, 15%. Yes, marksmanship and advanced techniques should be the focus, 28%. Yes, fundamental courses are all you need to be safe and effective, 47%. No, using common sense, reading and watching YouTube work fine, 6%. And no, they are a Ponzi scheme and a waste of time and money, 4%. So it looks like the overwhelming number of you feel that firearms training courses are extremely beneficial, and only the minority do not. And actually, this is going to be one of those weeks where I'm in the minority. I don't feel that they're that effective or that needed. But let's break down each one of these and I'll give you guys my opinions and what I think. First of all, we have yes, classes should be tactical and intense with bearded men. Now, what I was kind of joking about with the bearded men is the typical bearded tactician, the guys you see on YouTube that do the run and guns with the plate carriers and they're out in the mud and rolling around. I think it is awesome that people can go out and experience these types of training courses. I personally don't find them to be very practical. When I look at the statistics of self-defense shootings, I don't see people needing those plate carriers, running around, taking cover, all that kind of stuff. Usually it's going to be an exchange of gunfire between 1 and 3 shots at 7 yards or less, and it's over within 2 seconds. And that is the typical defensive scenario. Now, granted, if someone breaks into your house, I think it's good to maybe have run some basic drills, know places in your house where you can hide or hold yourself up while you defend your property, but that's still an extreme situation. Now, I am not saying that these classes could not be fun or beneficial. I feel that if this is the kind of stuff that you enjoy doing, you like to play these, some people call them games. I'm not saying games from a fun standpoint. They're just the games of you like to go out and run, you like to do the competitive stuff, you like to do the run and gun stuff. That is awesome. And so maybe these types of classes are just simply fun, a way to go out with your friends, have some fun, maybe learn some new techniques and get to do a type of shooting that you might not be able to do at a range where typically you're having to shoot at static targets. So I can see the benefit of that. But when it comes to real world application of these types of classes, I just don't see how they're super beneficial. I also feel that the people that push these classes on YouTube or online, I kind of feel that they're unrealistic. I totally get being a guy and wanting to be the most macho out there. You know, you got your AR, you got your Glock, you want to be that guy. It's cool. But I don't know, I kind of feel like they take advantage of people and they kind of create these fantasies where people can go out and feel like I'm really doing the run and gun stuff. I'm really going to be the technician. I'm a special forces operator. For me personally, I know I got a dad bod. I kind of joke about it all the time. I'm just a gun collector. If the time ever comes where I got to do those types of techniques to defend my house, myself, or my family, well, it's probably game over anyway. I'm not well built, I don't work out, I'm just an average guy. So for me, they serve no purpose. But if they do for you, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So then we have, yes, marksmanship and advanced techniques should be the focus. If I was going to vote for any of the training courses, this is the one that I think would interest me the most. Of course, going out to a range and learning how to do things like longer distance shooting, how to gauge wind and elevation and figure out the distance between a target and become more accurate, especially with higher caliber rounds like, you know, like 6.5 Grendel or 308 or something that can reach out further than what I'm typical of doing at a local indoor range. So I might really enjoy that. But when it comes down to the basics of technique, manipulating a gun, I don't really know how much I would get out of it. I know from just watching videos where people talk about long range shooting, the techniques, how to kind of slow your heart rate down, the mental aspect of shooting, I think that you can actually go to the range and work on those yourself. You can learn through trial and error. After all, someone had to do that originally to figure out how to teach other people. But I think going out on the range, do some slow shooting for long distance marksmanship would really be a fun day and a good way to spend some money if you wanted to improve. But as I said, I don't think it's necessarily something that you are going to get a lot out of, but you could definitely learn a couple of super small techniques that might improve your shooting over time. But you're still going to need to go out and practice them yourself. And if you're going to be going to the range anyway, I would rather spend the money on ammo than these courses. Go watch videos. That's the amazing thing about our society today. We have the internet. It is unbelievable how much knowledge is out there on the internet that is free for everybody. And it's great that people want to put these courses or these techniques or these ideas out in video format so people like us can learn from them. It is great that we're all out there helping each other. So if you really like to be taught in a classroom setting or hands-on one-on-one, maybe this would be very beneficial, but I still think you can get the same type of training from simply reading and watching videos. And then we have, yes, fundamental courses are all you need to be safe and effective. Now this one got the overwhelming support, 47%. And I will say, above all of the other types of courses you can take, this is probably the best, especially if you are a new gun owner and maybe not know somebody else in the firearms community that can teach you. Personally, one of the things that brings me great joy is when I take a novice shooter, someone that's never been shooting before, to the range for the first time. I got this whole thing that I do where I invite them over to the house. I'll have a couple of guns laid out. We go over things like gun safety first and foremost, manual of arms, how to safely handle a firearm. I talk about ballistics in a very basic standpoint where I say, okay, I'm going to start you off on a 22. This is how the gun's going to react. This is what to expect. This is what to do if this happens. And we kind of work them up through the different guns that I'm going to take them to the range with, and then we go to the range and I supervise them. I kind of feel that that personal training, especially because they know me, is very effective. But if you're somebody that just got into guns, you don't know anybody else in the firearms business or the industry or a fellow shooter, and you can go to the range and they offer basic handgun courses, I think they're absolutely wonderful because they're going to go over the safety, the manual of arms, how to properly use the sights, how to set up the targets, all that type of stuff. And usually those are pretty affordable classes. And I think for your money, you get the most amount of information. As I said, when you go to like a marksmanship class, of course, you're going to get a lot of specific information, but I think there is an issue when it comes to the law of diminishing returns. I think the more advanced the class and the more money you pay, the less information you get. So I think a basic fundamental course, you cover a lot for, I don't know, maybe $100 at most ranges, and that even includes some range time, some classroom time, some one-on-one time. I think they're actually pretty good deals, especially if you don't know anybody else that can teach you. The next answer we have no, using common sense, reading and watching YouTube works fine. This only got 6%. This is actually the one that I would have voted for, and this is how I know all that I do. I know people ask me all the time, how do you know so much about firearms? How do you know this, that, whatever? It's because the way that I learn. I think one of the most important things that you can do is learn how you learn as a human being. We all learn a little bit different and we assimilate knowledge in different ways. I, for example, am an oral learner. I learn through listening. I love to listen to podcasts. I can listen to YouTube channels. I just have it going on in the background all the time. That's how I absorb information and I can remember it. Now, some people learn through reading. Some people learn through handling and manipulating things. So if you're interested in how you learn, go on to Google and look up the VAKS test, V-A-K-S. It will ask you some basic questions and it tells you the type of learner you are. And I think if you know what you gravitate towards when it comes to learning, you can find materials that will help benefit you the most. A lot of times people already know how they learn if they really think about it, but it's funny how some people are completely oblivious that as individuals, we learn differently. So for example, as I said, I'm an oral learner. The one that I am least good at is reading. If you ask me to read something, sure, I can read it, but I have to spend a lot more time trying to understand it as compared to just somebody saying it out loud or me going to a course and listening. I learn that way. So YouTube videos a lot of times help me a lot. I have learned so much from other people that want to share their knowledge. And that's another reason why I create this channel. While I admit I am not an expert on everything, or really anything for that matter, I like to say I know a little bit about a lot of things. And so if I can kind of aggregate this information and share what I have learned in my experiences with others, I hope to help people like other people have helped me. And finally, we have no, they are Ponzi schemes and a waste of time and money. I actually know a lot of people in my personal life that I think would have voted for this one. I think a couple of them have actually gone to courses themselves and felt like, man, I wasted my money. Or these courses are just pushed on the big channels or the people that they look up to. You gotta go get this training. You gotta go to this particular course. You gotta travel to this place and take this $1,000 course, and you need 1,000 rounds of ammo, and they're gonna do this. If you don't, you're a terrible gun owner. You don't know what you're doing. And I find that to be valid. It's a very valid point, meaning like they're kind of Ponzi schemes. And I totally understand. I am self-employed. And so it's important that I create a culture of people that will want to use and utilize my services and my knowledge. So if you are in the firearms training world, of course, you are going to tell people you need to get trained. You need to come to my course. You need to do this. But I also think there's some ethics that needs to be in play here, and that you need to be honest with the people that you are asking to spend money with. You should be like, listen, I got this course. It's a lot of fun. These are the things you can learn. You don't really need to use them all, and you probably will never use this information. But darn, it is a lot of fun. If you're like that, I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. But there's a lot of people out there that says, if you're not out there getting trained by this person, this person, this person, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. You're dangerous. And I feel like that is completely wrong, and you're being pushed into having to take these courses, and it's kind of a Ponzi scheme. It just kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where it just kind of feeds itself, and these people make a lot of money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I can definitely see how some people would think it's a complete waste of time, and they are being lied to, and it is a Ponzi scheme. All right, so that's my thoughts on each one of these, but let's go to the top rated comments of the week as voted on by you. With the top rated comment of the week, we have XJRob85, who says, firearms are simple machines that can be effectively used without training. However, when it comes to personal defense, the more skills a person can develop, the better. Training should begin with the basics of safety, speed, and combat accuracy. Then once those skills are solid, move on to civilian tactics and other advanced skills. Like learning a martial art, firearms proficiency takes years of instruction and practice. I agree with a lot of what he has to say, especially the years of practice part. I'm a professional musician and a music teacher, and I tell my students, I only get to work with you for 30 minutes or sometimes 60 minutes a week. That's it. So I have to train you to be your own teacher. You need to take the skills that we develop in our personal lessons and you can apply them yourselves and build upon those. I find that when somebody earns the knowledge, they retain it more than if the knowledge is just given to them. So if they learn through experience, they will remember those lessons forever. Next up, we have Jimmy Harden, who says, I don't think it can be summed up with those choices. I think common sense coupled with basic skills and continuing to advance self-defense is probably the best answer for me. I'm a vet, but I will still train. You can never go wrong with extra knowledge. And I completely agree with this statement as well. It's one of those things I mentioned in the early part of this video. You need to do this the way that you feel benefits you the most. Just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. It's really important to know how you learn, where your strengths and weaknesses are, and to develop those and to work on them. So I think he knows where his strengths and weaknesses are, so he has a plan of action that he is trying to execute. I think it's really smart, and I don't blame him. Next up, we have Matt Moore. I'm big on fundamentals. I think training classes that take you outside of the normal lane range shooting have their place. Well, I agree there. And I spoke about this when it came to my personal opinions when it came to the effectiveness of these courses. I said, one thing that these courses can provide is you a chance to go to a place that you've never shot, shoot at targets you've never shot at in a manner that you may not get to at just a typical range. So from that standpoint, because you gain experience, I think they might be well worthwhile in the right circumstance. Then we have Myteco1, who says, training always helps if a good instructor. They teach you how to practice. Practice makes perfect. I'm actually going to expand upon this. One of the things I always tell my students in lessons as a music teacher, I say practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. What I mean by that is when you put something into muscle memory, even if you know what you're doing is wrong because you've done the same task over and over and over again, if you do it wrong, you create a bad habit, and you can intellectually know this is not the thing to do, and you still practice it, but because you do it wrong, you're instilling a bad habit over time. Practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent, and it's really important to know. So as you're going through whatever it is you're working on, to slow down, think about it, do it the right way, take your time and build upon that instead of just doing it over and over and over again. And finally, we have Joe Morgan with the longest sentence in Texas gun vault history. Fundamentals, there were no classes when I was a kid, but my dad taught me safety and I taught myself to shoot and shoot well. And for some classes help, but the Jaeger types dig at my teeth. They are very arrogant and maybe a good reason, but practice and technique go a long way. I've carried a gun for work since 17, for defense since 21, and to this day I learn something new every day, and classes may teach me more, but I'm confident I can best most in one-on-one fight pistols or otherwise. Good sentence there. But I do understand where he's talking about. He's just talking about using common sense and using experience. Life is the best teacher of all. Experience is the best teacher of all. And it's important that you go through life and analyze your experiences. Think about things. Honestly, if you think about things before they happen and you have a plan of attack or a game plan ahead of time, you are going to be more prepared. Being prepared, I think, is the most important thing in life, to plan for all eventualities, because everything can happen. My personality type, I like to plan ahead. Sometimes I kind of feel like my intuition is very, very strong. I look at everything in life as a chessboard, and I try to mitigate my responses based on the probabilities of what I can predict is going to happen. And I spend a lot of mental time thinking about those things. And I think when it comes to self-defense situations or how you plan on defending your home, that can go a long way more than many training courses. All right, so there you go. That is the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. This was actually a really good one. I loved hearing all of your responses. I kind of felt that you guys had a lot of great things to say. I did read all the comments, but as always, I never vote in these polls, and I do not respond to people because I do not want to change the outcome or affect the top-rated comments of the week. So there you go. If you guys want to participate in next week's poll question, please go to the community tab on my YouTube channel. The question will be there. I will also put a link to that in the description below. And if you guys are interested, I'll give you a little pitch for my second channel, the Texas Gun Vault 2. There'll be a link for that in the description below as well. It is a more laid-back, casual channel where I talk about things and make videos that I don't think can be completely fleshed out here on the main channel. Give you guys some behind-the-scenes stuff, some ranting stuff, just stuff that's on my mind. And I film it just on my phone like the good old days when I was the Fort Worth Colt guy. So if you like that type of content, kind of want to see what some upcoming projects are, what I think about things, go check me out there, the Texas Gun Vault 2. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this segment. I look forward to seeing your comments in that comment section below and what your responses are to next week's poll. So as always, thanks for watching.